निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुषे नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So it's such a great joy actually to be discussing Bhagavatam anytime. So I am just having a little where did it go? Yeah. So last time we discussed from Canto first, chapter 2, up till verse number 15. Is that so, Vishal Prabhu? Yeah. So can we do a quick revision, if whatever you may recollect, like in just a couple of minutes? Then we start with 16th.
Yes, bro. So we looked at what the parodharma for any individual is, and we discussed about the glorification of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the
Right,
importance of hearing, and how hearing purifies us from within. Repeated hearing purifies us from within.
right, right.
And, I think we also saw about how we should direct our life's choices towards the
Yeah.
ultimate good. Yes, bro. Rather than sense gratification, and we saw why that is important.
Yeah, good, very good. Our our life is not meant for sense gratification. And life's goal should be to please the Supreme Lord. Samsiddhirari Toshana. Yeah, very good. Mhm. Any other remembrances?
All of our occupational engagements should be for the ultimate liberation, and it should always
Right.
be towards service of the Lord.
Correct, correct, correct. So
Mm,
other things will anyways automatically come tag along. But this, the main thing in life is to make sure that the main thing remains the main thing. Yeah. Like our Adinath Krishna Bro is so focused, even though he has a tough job and you know, so really, I mean, just see, totally different background, like different area of stay, different culture, then and then totally different goal in society. It's very focused, so much time is passing and tough job is there. So, but it's very focused. So that kind of focus is required in life for any devotee. Right? Thank you. Okay. Any other recollections? Yeah, pretty much the theme was this only. So these two things mainly, that life's goal is not meant for self gratification, and the ultimate aim of life is to achieve pure devotional service to Krishna. You know, the parodharma, as Vishal Prabhu rightly recollected, and any path which helps us to attain that highest state of life, which is to unconditionally love and serve Krishna. That path is the essence of all scriptures for us. You know. So what is that path? That path is sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is not the highest thing. Highest thing is prema bhakti, pure bhakti. But we cannot just directly attain prema bhakti. So sadhana bhakti, or the regulated practice of devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is the way to attain that ultimate state of existence, which is prema bhakti, loving, pure loving devotional service. You know? So, as important as pure devotional service is the path which helps us to attain pure devotional service. And that path is regulated practice of devotional service, which is called as sadhana bhakti, Vedi sadhana bhakti, you know, so which we are trying to practice. So we may have challenges from within and challenges from without. Right? Of course, we do have. Yet, when we follow the path scientifically and with determination, with perseverance, then one day we will definitely attain that Shuddha Bhakti, that pure Bhakti, Prema Bhakti. And therefore, the Bhagavatam says, do not let your life be directed by sense gratification. Rather, direct your life in such a way that it is always focused upon the pleasure of Krishna. Right? It is always focused upon the, the goal of human form of life, not towards the pitfall. Like when you drive the car, so you avoid any pitfalls, right? So, of course, in US you don't have so many pits or falls, but here we have. So it's easier to learn sadhana bhakti. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead. So, would you like to display Vishal Prabhu from 16th verse onwards? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah. So, okay, why don't you go to the text also, Prabhu? Like we can recite the text. Yeah, thank you. So this is a very, very famous and one of the top 10 most important verses in the entirety of scriptures. So Prabhupada quoted it so many times. And it's a very vital verse. So it's not like in the beginning stages, it is not so much quoted. So you'll not find it quoted so many times in the like small books and all. But in Prabhupada's lectures to devotees, Bhagavatam classes, there you will find it quoted many times because this is one of the very vital verses. It contains a secret, a secret formula. So many times devotees say, how should I attain taste for hearing and chanting? How should I attain taste for like remembering Krishna? How should I attain taste for, how should I attain attraction to the deities? You must have come across such queries or must have come across such desires, aspirations within yourselves. So here is a formula. So His Holiness Jairat Maharaj says this formula in a very simple English sentence, okay, so which I'll share after we recite. Shushusho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevanat. Yeah. So please go to the translation, or any of you like to read translation.
O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva.
Yeah. So see, here, Shri Prabhu, okay, let us read few lines of the purport also. The conditioned life of a living being is caused by his revolting against the Lord. There are men called the Devas or godly living beings, and there are men called Asuras or demons who are against the authority of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, A vivid description of the asuras is given, in which it is said that the asuras are put into lower and lower states of ignorance, life after life, and so sink to the lower animal forms and have no information of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. These asuras are gradually rectified to God consciousness by the mercy of the Lord's liberated servitors in different countries according to the supreme will. So, see, this is the indication towards the formula, towards the secret formula. What is the indication? These asuras, like asuras means those who are against the Lord, those who have been against the Lord, they are gradually rectified to God consciousness. Just like even like if I think of myself, I think probably we all are like that only that at one point in time we were unaware of the Lord or against the Lord, even so to say. But now, by the mercy of devotees, now we are being gradually rectified to God consciousness. How? By the mercy of the Lord's liberated servitors, those who are like truly in Krishna consciousness in different countries. So there are so many such servitors according to the supreme will. Such devotees of God are very confidential associates of the Lord. And when they come to save human society from the dangers of godlessness, they are known as the powerful incarnations of the Lord, as sons of the Lord, as servants of the Lord, or as associates of the Lord. But none of them falsely claim to be God themselves. Okay. So see here, Prabhupada has given four examples, powerful incarnations of the Lord, sons of the Lord, servants of the Lord, or as associates of the Lord. So you may recollect Lord Jesus Christ as the Son of the Lord, isn't it? And similarly, if you see Srila Prabhupada, he's an eternal associate of the Lord. So by Prabhupada's association, you can see so many devotees, so many Americans became devotees. So if I ask you, like, if I say, okay, let us say if I make a statement that most of the devotees, or even almost like all the devotees at ISV, ISKCON Silicon Valley, have received tremendous amount of enthusiasm and inspiration and faith, enthusiasm, inspiration, and faith in their practice of devotional service simply because of the example and and association of His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. Will you agree? Yeah, right. Yeah, we will agree. Hari bol. That is exactly what this verse is saying, you know. So when you associate, see, highly agree. Correct. I too, me too. So actually, Prabhupada used to say there is a famous letter of Prabhupada where he, wrote to one devotee like who was trying to open a center, like launch the Krishna conscious outreach in one new place, like in those days. So Prabhupada writes to him that to open a Krishna conscious temple or a center and to create a community of devotees in a new city, Prabhupada says, how many people are required? Prabhupada says just one sincere soul is required. Just one sincere soul. And by his association, Prabhupada would say, do as I did. So just by that one sincere person's association, by his example, you know, so many people can get faith, can get enthusiasm, can get inspiration, just by his association. And then what to say when they assist him, when they serve him in serving Krishna. So devotee would not say serve me. Devotee says serve Krishna. Like Prabhupada would say serve Krishna, surrender to Krishna. And Prabhupada say, I am also supposed to do, I will also do. So, so actually what happens is like we think, okay, how should I get faith? So associate with those and serve those who have faith. So His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj was asked this. He was in a Bhagavatam class in Vrindavan. Beautiful class he gave. And then like one devotee asked, Maharaj, how to get such determination as, as like you and many other devotees have, that since last 4 decades, 5 decades, you have been just steadily, consistently, undeviatingly, you have been practicing Krishna consciousness, serving so nicely. Maharaj said, you want to get such determination and faith? Associate with those who have such determination and faith. Then another devotee said, Maharaj, how to get like attraction for something, he said, like how to get. Maharaj said, same answer. Associate with those who have that and serve those who have that. And then two, three, like three, four such questions happened, okay, in series. How to get this, how to get that. Then Maharaj said, any question beginning with how to get this, how to get XYZ? Answer is associate with those who have XYZ, serve those who have XYZ. See, this applies materially also. For example, let's say I'm a college student in India, like I'm an undergrad student in India in some college. Okay. Now, if I choose to always associate with those boys who are always talking of girls, out of passion, like they're just talking of girls, 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 girls. What's going to happen to me after some time? By their association. Very soon, I'll also be talking of girls, 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 girls. Right? Suppose I'm always sitting with in the classroom and associating with those who are always talking of going to US, like to do MS and to earn a lot of dollars. Then what's going to happen? Pretty soon, I'll also be talking in the same terms. My desires, my aspirations, my inclinations and my endeavors will actually come down to that, right? So like that's how it follows. So similarly, if you associate with devotees, like and if you're open to that, you're like impressionable, you're willing to have the impressions in the heart by their association, by their words, by their example, then what happens is you also start getting affected. It's like a COVID disease. So this is one level by association. And second level is when you render service. So when you render service to a Vaishnava, then listen to them. By pleasing, oceanic benefit happens. For example, if you if you're always looking at an example of a, let's say, a business tycoon like Elon Musk, and you're always like following him and you're observing him, you're talking about him, you are hearing from him, his talks and all. So what will happen? You will also be like thinking of business and this and that, like all that, maybe space. So, but if you even happen to serve him by taking a job in his company and you render service like to him or to his servants, then what will happen? He'll give you dollars. Why? Because you render service. And he has a lot of dollars, right? So similarly, pure devotees, what do they have? What do they have a lot? What is it?
Love for Krishna.
Love for Krishna, enthusiasm for Krishna, eagerness to hear Krishna Katha, faith in Krishna's holy names, right? And that is exactly what they will give us. How do they give us? What is a medium? Medium is blessings. So this is exactly what this verse is talking about. You know, how do you get Vasudeva Katha Ruchi? Vasudeva means Krishna. Katha means hearing about him. Ruchi means taste. How do I get taste for hearing about Krishna? How do I get eagerness to hear about Krishna? Because hearing about Krishna is the root, you know, to to advance further in Krishna consciousness, right? To get desire to serve Krishna. So it says that you associate with devotees who have that taste. And best is you associate and then you serve them. Hmm. So like when you do seva to someone, you start getting like, in in ordinary material life also, actually, if you please someone by association. Similarly, when we please the devotees, how do we please the devotees? By serving. And what service do they like? Like Prabhupada, whenever some hippie wanted to do any service, Prabhu just engage him in Krishna's service, right? That's the idea. So isn't it beautiful? Beautiful secret. Yeah. So a beautiful example of this is there in the form of Narada Muni. So Narada boy, you know the story, he associated with those Bhaktivedantas and he rendered service to them. And what happened? Very soon he himself fell in love with Krishna. He himself became a fearless, pure devotee very quickly. Same thing happened with the hippies actually in America, in New York and in San. I'm sure you know better than us because you are there. So I remember Adinath Krishna Prabhu took me to that place. What is it? Golden Gate Park, right? Yeah, Golden Gate Park. And he and I think it was Arjun Pran Prabhu and this Kautukarna Prabhu. And like they took both of us to that straight from the airport actually. They took us right there. To the park, and then we were like we chanted there, we did kirtans. Prabhu had only carried the pair of kartals, and we did kirtans, we sat there, we took pics, and we remembered like those memories. And then he took and showed us like even those places where Prabhupada actually stepped, like those rocks and exactly that bridge, like in the middle of the park. I remembered we even distributed a couple of book sets, maybe four of them, and then like we saw all those photos, like Prabhupada was there and all. So they showed me those benches, right? Where Prabhupada sat. Yeah. So actually, when you try to serve some great soul, so that great soul he offers from his heart the very same thing which he holds sacred, and that is love for Krishna. Faith in the holy names, enthusiasm to hear Krishna Katha, hmm, like that. So that is a secret. Hmm. And that is how you see, like in 6 months, just in a matter of 6 months, those hippies who were rejected even by American society, they just, you know, they really got like lifted up in devotional service so quick. My goodness, real quick. Yeah. So that is a secret. So we all actually have this facility, for all of us, that. So therefore, when we see sincere Vaishnavas, which is not limited to any ashram, which is not limited to any country, and they are not limited to any age group also, not gender also. Okay. So when we see sincere Vaishnava, you know, like senior or apparently not so senior, when we try to please them and take their association. So taking their association and serving them, pleasing them somehow, then that opens up the doors of the greatest good fortune for us. Because nowhere else can we get uh, this greatest treasure in the world. Greatest treasure in the world is Krishna. Yeah. So any comments, questions on this? Yeah, Satya Sankalp Prabhu. So happy to hear from you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Prabhu. What a wonderful lecture, Prabhu. It was amazing. Prabhuji, I had a question. I guess you touched on it multiple times in this talk, which is taking association. Can you actually elaborate this idea of like taking association? What does it exactly mean? Because sometimes it can be misconstrued as like just physical proximity. Uh,
Yeah, right.
so like what should be the mood while take what exactly it is? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Very, very vital question, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you for that. In fact, I should have myself spoken about it. So actually, the main thing in association is there has to be an exchange of thoughts and desires, which should lead to transformation of heart. Now, how does that happen? So there are primarily three ways, practically, in which that kind of exchange happens of thoughts and desires. One is simply by observing the life of a Vaishnava. So Mahajano Yena Gata Sapantha. Like when you read Leelamrit, Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit, I'm sure many of you must have read it already or might be reading. So there have been so many books written on, about like on Srila Prabhupada. So that the life, like, I mean, he just writes the entirety of introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam as the life sketch of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, if you, okay, uh, Prabhu, my connection may be a little unstable,
Oh,
probably.
okay. Prabhu, I thought it was on my end, probably. Okay,
But
Prabhu. Yeah, please.
is the audio all right? Is the audio
Y-
seamless?
Yeah, the audio also cut in between for maybe 5 to 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. Okay, I can repeat,
Okay, please. Yes.
So I was saying that there is a book Bhagavad and there is a person Bhagavad. So Srila Prabhupada, such a person Bhagavad, that his life is non-different from book Bhagavad. His life is like the illustration of, book Bhagavad, you know. So I was sharing that when Prabhupada wrote this mammoth work of commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, now Srimad Bhagavatam is 12 cantos. Like even when you lift that box containing all the cantos, you know how, like, even Adinath Krishnapur has tough time with his huge hands. Right? He's a yoga guy and a bodybuilder and whatnot. Like, like you don't want to take panga with this guy, right? He'll beat you to pulp. So, even for him, it's not like, it's just a child's play to lift Bhagavatam box. Right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So that Srimad is and all. That Srimad Bhagavatam, nothing from Srimad Bhagavatam, nothing from any other Puranas, nothing from any Upanishads. Prabhupada simply writes the life sketch of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I still remember when I first time read it. I actually took it as a printing mistake. I think that in my copy, like maybe Chaitanya Charitamrita's thing has been published or what has happened, I don't know. I was really wondering, like, I read it like 18 years back or maybe 19 years back. So I was really thinking, like, why, what is this? Why is he doing this here? This is supposed to be in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then I got to hear from senior devotees. So I realized actually that it is a perfect thing to write in the introduction. Why? What is Prabhupada showing us? Prabhupada is showing us that here is the book Bhagavad, which you are about to read. And the best representation of, or the example of this book Bhagavad is a devotee. And who can be a better model of a devotee than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So he just writes like, that this is non-different from, this is what is there. This is the glimpse of what is there in this book. In these 35 pages, you find a glimpse of these thousands of pages. You find like a summary, you find like a, uh, you know, like you find it as it is, just in like a compressed form. In fact, in a much better understandable format. So Prabhupada also said that the most important principle to be known, if you want to know like one principle, like your memory, you cannot remember any other principle. Okay. So Prabhupada said if somebody wants to know just one principle from all the scriptures and still want to make his life perfect, you know the answer? What is that principle? That principle is Mahajano Yena Gata Sapanta. Simply follow in the footsteps of great souls. Because great souls are practicing Shuddha Bhakti. So therefore, just by observing or hearing about the life of a great soul, just by observing the activities of a great soul, we can understand like what is the best thing to do. what to do, what not to do, how to do. Like I would observe, Srila Prabhupada's disciples, many of the senior devotees and like devotees like His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, how, they answer the questions of new people, how they're like sincerely endeavoring, thinking of ways and means to share Krishna consciousness. So there is more things are taught, more things are caught than taught, right? Like that, you know. So action is always much louder than words. So by observing the life of pure devotees, by by reading about them, by hearing about them, that is one very great way of taking association, definitely. And then second way of taking association of a devotee is by inquiring. Like for example, you hear from His Holiness Indradona Maharaj how he, when he was assisting Srila Prabhupada in his younger days, so he would just ask Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, what about that? Srila Prabhupada, what do you think about the teachings of Karl Marx, communism? So Srila Prabhupada, what do scriptures say about this? You know, even when Prabhupada would take his morning walk, whether in New York or LA or San Francisco or anywhere, Prabhupada would give those lessons like from the surroundings and anything would happen. And I think they showed me that place where the many of the ducks were there, ducks or swans were in that lake. And Prabhupada would often like point out, like one time Prabhupada was feeding those grains. That was in India, I believe, to many birds were there, and Prabhupada was feeding grains. So to some bird, to some one or two birds, Prabhupada was giving more grains, like much more than others. So then devotee asked them, Prabhupada, why are you giving like more to them and less to others? Prabhupada said, see, because they're so much eager for more. Similarly, when a devotee has more eagerness for Krishna, Krishna gives himself more. And Prabhupada quoted, Ye yathama prapadyante, how Krishna reciprocates. And Prabhupada spoke like for rest of the walk, teaching that beautiful principle from the Gita. So Prabhupada would teach like the worldview to his disciples. Prabhupada would teach in every ordinary, so to say, ordinary, apparently ordinary exchange or a routine work also. Prabhupada would like help them see it from the devotional perspective. Prabhupada would see a natural thing and Prabhupada would immediately give an analogy to understand something. Because Bhagavatam is filled with that. Like Bhagavatam says, if you do not regularly read the Shastras, then after some time it will become very difficult. Why? Shastras give example that in the rainy season, like in India, you go, there is something called Pagdandi. I think Satya Sankalpa will understand, he's from Delhi. Pagdandi is like a small narrow path, like when you go to this redwood forest, so you have that like there's the muddy path, no? Like where only 2-3 people can walk, and if it is too much raining, then it becomes muddy, right? Totally. And if nobody walks on that path, let's say for 4 months, it'll be covered with bushes. It'll be covered with grasses and bushes and creepers and all. And it'll no longer be a path only. Then you have to again like do a lot of endeavor to like cut down the entire thing and roll it down, smooth it down, and then again make a path, right? So this is the example given in the Shastra. Very natural. So actually any great Vaishnava, so we keep asking questions. Actually, we ask questions, we learn much more than just by hearing. So asking questions, just like you see Arjuna ask questions, questions after questions, question after questions. Parikshit Maharaj. Because he asked questions, some of the cantos came out. Otherwise, like some cantos, our Shukdev Goswami was just speaking in 1 or 2 verses or like 5-6 verses, he was just summarizing and going ahead. And Parikshit was, hey, don't. I am very eager to hear. Don't please elaborate on that. You just said like a little bit, seed form. Don't do that. Please elaborate. I would like to know more about it. Why did this happen? Why this? Why? So then, Shukdev Goswami would speak much more. So it's like you to dig out from the heart of a Vaishnava the wisdom which is there, the golden realization, the knowledge which is there about Krishna or about. So otherwise, as you rightly mentioned, Satya Sankalpa Prabhu, like it's like just a physical material association. So that's just a physical proximity, Prabhupada would say that even a mosquito is very near to the spiritual master, but it is troubling the spiritual master. It is the nearest guy, in fact, for that matter. Yeah. So that is second way, like you inquire and you discuss, you ask for the world view, you ask for the scriptural view, you ask what was the mood of Srila Prabhupada about this. So these are questions which you may not directly find in the Shastra, but then you can find the digested knowledge, which is wisdom. See, information, knowledge, wisdom, and realization. These are like, so you can find wisdom and realization directly, which otherwise for us it may take like so much time. But from a realized soul or from a senior personality, you can get very easily. And then third way of association is directly hearing, like which you do regularly, right? You go to the Bhagavatam class, or so there is that formal class, or the, of course, this is the primary way of, this is the standard way of taking association. Or it may be in the form of a letter. It may be virtual, like on the YouTube or whatever. So it may be reading the book written by that person. That is also as good as hearing from the person. It falls into the third category only. So these are the three categories, Prabhu, how we associate with a person. First is by just by observing him, or by reading about his life sketch, or hearing about him from others. And second is like by inquiring, by discussing, by asking for the worldview, by you know by counter questioning, content inquiring. I don't mean to say like challenging way of questioning. And then third, hearing. So these are the ways we associate with it. Does it answer, Prabhu?
No, wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Prabhu, just a very short follow-up. So, like in the verse, the first word is su sho sho, as in hearing. So, is the second and the third point that you mentioned both considered in hearing? Because there's an active component as well in hearing where we are asking questions to clarify something.
Sorry, I missed you, Prabhu. Can you repeat?
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me now, Prabhu? Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu. Can you repeat again, Prabhu? I sorry.
Yes,
I'm sorry. I'm
yes,
very.
yes, Prabhu. Sure, Prabhu. So the first word is hearing, su sho sho. So, like the second and the third point that you mentioned is an association. Is it both considered as part of hearing process? Because even asking questions can be considered that, or is hearing like a separate a limb or a branch completely?
Prabhu, I'm really sorry. Actually, I missed your question. Can you please repeat once again?
Prabhuji, can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yeah, I'm able to
Okay,
hear you
okay.
now.
Prabhu, like in the verse, it is saying hearing, like one who's engaged in hearing. And then, like the second and the third point that you mentioned, like one is observing, and the second point was where we are like asking questions. So, is asking questions also part of hearing, or is hearing like a separate limb?
Yeah. Good point. Actually, hearing is like you're sitting in a Bhagavatam class, so you are hearing. So that is the third way of like standard way of hearing. But often you are just like say a couple of you or three or four devotees, and then you are asking questions which in a formal class setting you may not. In a formal class setting there are some boundaries. One is of social etiquettes, another is of maybe the limitation of the topic also, or some limitations which may be there, like because of the audience present. you know so there are different levels of audience or different types of audience, so there may be limitations of the revelations also, or discussions also. But what happens is when you are just like, as I was giving you example, like when Prabhupada and his disciples would be there, like in an informal setting, na? So they would just ask about like, Prabhupada, what is your view about this? What is your opinion about this? So if you read Prabhupada's conversations and Prabhupada's lectures and Prabhupada's books, there is a difference actually. The books are the best way you can learn um, the principles, because they are Prabhupada's in a very formal way, in a very pure and very principled way. He gives all the siddhantas. But when it comes to lectures, he's little more informal and open. And when it comes to conversations, he's like totally raw. You know, he'll directly tell the point as it is. This is what we should do. Even you can see his tone changing. And the disciples are also very easily asking questions, counter questions, like even interrupting him in the middle. Not not to interrupt per se, but they feel very close and they're saying, but Prabhupada, there the person says this, so why are you? They even try to play devil's advocate with Prabhupada. So it's a much more uh, quickly impressionable, deeply impressionable thing actually. Like so if you have like choice, where you have very less time, you like hardly get opportunities, then the best would be to attend a class. Like that is a first priority because you get the fundamental principles there. But if you're already attending classes, then the next best would be like you get opportunity to discuss, like this in a more informal. And if that also you are getting opportunity, I can give you one example of observing, you like it. I'm sure you'll like it. So there is this devotee, proper disciple, Upendra Prabhu. You can find it also in the Veda base. Although I don't remember where in Veda base, but you can definitely find it. Upendra Das. So he shares, of course he's very humbly sharing. So I'm just sharing because he has shared. But it actually is glory of Srila Prabhupada. So he shares that one time like Prabhupada came to whichever temple he was living in, like Los Angeles or San Francisco, somewhere only on the West Coast, I believe, somewhere. So like Prabhupada came to that temple after many months or maybe a couple of years. And then Prabhupada asking about all the devotees, where is he? Where is he? So like he saw many new devotees also. And then Prabhupada asked about Upendra Prabhu also. So Prabhupada said, where is Upendra? So the devotee said, Prabhupada, Upendra Prabhu nowadays is no longer living in the temple. Prabhupada said, how? How come he is not in the temple? They said he's living with his girlfriend nearby. Prabhupada said, Prabhupada was concerned and Prabhupada was surprised. How can he do that? He's an initiated devotee. And how can he stay with a girl like that? Is he married to that girl? They said, no. So Prabhupada said, please call him. And Prabhupada said that does he not come to meet with all of you and like associate? He said, no, he hardly comes, very rarely he comes. Prabhupada said, call him, tell him I am desiring to meet him. So then he came, and he was very happy that Prabhupada remembered him and called him. So then as he entered Prabhupada's room, Prabhupada said, come, and he paid obeisances. Prabhupada says to him that I have heard that you're not staying in temple any longer. He said, yes, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada said, so I heard that you're staying with this girl. He said, yes, Srila Prabhupada, I'm staying with that girl. Prabhupada said, how come? If you're not married to that girl, how can you stay together? He said, no, 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 Srila Prabhupada, we are not doing, I'm not doing anything wrong, we're just staying together. Prabhupada said, hey, it is not possible for a young boy and a young girl to stay together and not fall prey to anarthas. Prabhupada said it is not possible. Senses are so strong, you know. So why don't you stay with devotees? Then he felt that Prabhupada is actually concerned about me, and Prabhupada is very intelligent, he's understanding. So then he opened up. He said that Prabhupada, I have some problem with some devotees, their behavior is not so good, and I'm not I'm not able to I'm not happy to stay with them. I find it difficult. Prabhupada also understood that he's right now undergoing a weak phase, a low in his life. So Prabhupada said, but how can that's all right. I understand. Sometimes it happens between individuals. But then how can you stay with the girl without marriage? So he said, no, Prabhupada, I am not, I want to marry, but then first I need to love her. And to love her, I need to stay with her. I need to know her. There Prabhupada caught him. Prabhupada said, what are you saying? Prabhupada took him to, it was on the first or second floor, maybe the room. I don't know where it was. So Prabhupada caught his hand. Prabhupada took him to the window. So the window was like kind of looking out towards the street. And Prabhupada pointed towards some young girls who were passing by the street, you know, like one, two, three, some young girls. They're just walking. And Prabhupada said, see, any of the young girls in this world, you can pick up. If she's willing to marry you, you can marry her. But if you think that you can love a girl, that is not going to happen. Prabhupada said, love is only possible for Krishna. And when you love Krishna, then only you can love other living entities. Prabhupada said, love means selfless. What you call love is actually lust. So if you think you can love any living entity by knowing that living entity, it's not going to happen. In fact, Prabhupada said familiarity breeds contempt. Material familiarity breeds contempt. Spiritual familiarity breeds respect. So then Prabhupada told him, you get married to any girl and then live with her. I don't have any problem. But if you think you will love that girl and become happy in your life, that never happened in the history of human existence. If you want to become happy, you have to learn to love Krishna because you are a spirit soul. And soul, by its constitutional nature, can love only Krishna. So you love Krishna, your wife loves Krishna, and then both of you can love each other because you both love Krishna. And he was so happy to hear this actually, because it kind of helped him also to come out of his weakness, and it kind of enlightened him also. It gave him new strength. Then Prabhupada told him, why don't you shift to the temple? And then he was like thinking what to say, because again, that same problem, he has tough time with some devotees. Prabhupada said, okay, can you come and stay with me? My God, he was like, oh, he was thinking, oh, Prabhupada, so do you mean to say I move in with you? Prabhupada said, yeah, this is a big room. It's a big room. Like we both can stay. So Prabhupada was like going way out of his. Uh, I mean, he had so much compassion, isn't it? So, and he actually like made sure that he moved in that evening itself. So he brought his luggage and all, and just moved in. And now comes the real thing. So Upendra Prabhu writes that I started observing Swamiji, Prabhupada. Said that Prabhupada was in front of me every morning, early morning in the Brahma Muhurta. He would chant with devotees. He would attend the Mangal Artik and would give the Bhagavatam class. Then he would take some prasad. And then sometimes he had some outside engagements. He would go out. He would meet the devotees, you know, had sometimes some preaching programs and all. And then in the afternoon, Prabhupada would take a little nap and like half an hour or so. And Prabhupada would take some body massage, that oil thing. And then Prabhupada would write for some time, letters, like replies to letters and all. And the evening again, Prabhupada would give some programs. Then in the night, uh, so in the night time, he saw Prabhupada would take only rest for a couple of hours. And then Prabhupada would get up like midnight or so. And then for 4 or 5 hours up to morning, Mangal Aarti time, he would be writing books in the dictaphone in one corner of the room, trying not to disturb Upendra. And Upendra is telling, that I began observing Prabhupada. For many days, I kept observing him. And this person was like, every moment he was awake, which he was like almost 21 hours. Every moment he was awake, he was simply serving Krishna. Either he was chanting the holy names, either he was taking part in kirtan, or he was going out to give programs. And this is like a 76, 77-year-old man. Or he's meeting disciples, he's writing responses to the letters. And in the night time also, he just took a couple of hours rest. And I am a young man, I am sleeping. And Swamiji is writing books in that dictaphone. you know. And he said his consciousness is so crystal clear. He's always in such a jolly mood. And he understood after a few days. So his realization was after a few days, this guy really loves Krishna. And I am double sure than that. I'm more sure than that Krishna must be loving him like anything. Because of like how much he's always with Krishna only in one form or the other. Then he says that time I made a resolution in my heart. I understood I cannot love Krishna like that. Like I cannot do this. What he's doing is superhuman, you know. And even as a young man, like I need to take rest like 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever, and this guy is like, way out of my league. So then he says that I understood one thing, that for me to be loved by Krishna, because if I have to become pure hearted, which I want to become, I'm facing problem with my lower nature, my material desires. So how do I become purified? I have no hope with myself. But I have hope that if Krishna loves me, if Krishna blesses me, then yes, I can change. I can be purified. But why will Krishna love me? To directly be able to touch Krishna's heart, very difficult. But I know one thing. This person is very dear to Krishna, extremely dear to Krishna. He must be. So let me try to make him happy by rendering some service to him in my life. If in this entire life, if I can little bit please Prabhupada, then that is the easiest way, quickest way I can please Krishna. Otherwise, on my own, no. And that's what he began doing. So he immediately thought, okay, what does Prabhupada want from me? Let me try to do that. Is there a service I can render to Prabhupada? Or how does Prabhupada want me to change? Let me change. So that is what is Bhakti, Prabhu, actually. Bhakti is when we try to please Krishna, which we cannot do directly, but we understand that Krishna's devotees are very dear to him. And we try to please Krishna's devotees. How? By rendering devotional service to Krishna. you know. And then there is a reciprocation of love. So we do realize by studying the Shastras and by hearing from the devotees that actually Krishna loves us more than we can ever love him. So when we realize that heart of Krishna, that nature of Krishna, that love of Krishna for us, so we actually then want to so much more love Krishna back. See, out of Krishna's love for us, he's supplying us association of devotees, Srimad Bhagavatam, holy name is coming in the form of deities, is giving us, remembrance and thoughts and guidance from within as a Chaitya Guru, as Paramatma, right, as Super Soul. So, in so many ways, actually, Krishna is just surrounding us, enveloping us with His mercy and giving us opportunities again and again, re-accepting us, tolerating um, our faults or our whatever, you know, and in so many ways, is facilitating us also, literally, and He's rewarding us also, like, okay, for little Krishna consciousness, see so much devotees will love you. Right? So the idea is that when we realize how much Krishna and devotees love us, how much Guru loves us, so we then want to love more. So that is bhakti. When we want to reciprocate that love and service. Yeah. So it's a beautiful example like of Upendra Prabhu, how he observed Srila Prabhupada. And by observing, he, you know, what he had been hearing, you know, that made a lot of sense to him when he started like observing in that contextual way. So does it help, Prabhu? Like this thing.
It more than helps. So thank you so much. That
Mhm.
was such a wonderful example. Yes, Prabhu, thank you so much. I have to reflect a lot on this, trying to internalize. But again, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. So see, we may have a question that how do we see our spiritual masters loving Krishna so much? We may not have that opportunity, but we can see how much they love Prabhupada. So Prabhupada loves Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loves Krishna. And these personalities, like in our life, we see they love Srila Prabhupada, how much they're attached to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada's austerity and Prabhupada's like going on Jaladuta and taking up like facing those heart attacks, and that is great. But what is the greatest thing about Prabhupada? Like many other people also probably would have done at a very old age, such kind of things. May not be exactly same, but some equivalent things. Probably even worse than that. People have gone through. I'm sure people must have gone through for whatever reasons. But the thing which makes us fall in love with Prabhupada is Prabhupada is doing out of a totally selfless purpose for Guru actually. but he was willing to do it with a very humble heart, with a very prayerful heart, depending on Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name, and he was doing it on somebody else's instruction, on the prediction of Nityanand Prabhu and on the instruction of his spiritual master. That's what makes us fall in love with Prabhupada, you know, like why he's doing, for what purpose, for what end to be achieved. Otherwise, I mean, those austerities and actions and all that, many would have. So, like that. So this is how our life gets enriched actually. If we can fall in love with even few Vaishnavas, then we can be blessed with so much love for Krishna and attachment to Krishna. We can be blessed with so much eagerness and everything actually. Yeah. So thank you for helping me be reminded also of this beautiful principle. So I think we should end here. It's time. Thank you very much kind, for your enthusiasm and attention.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Thank you so much,
Hare
Prabhu.
His Grace Achyut Mohan Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai.
Thank you. Our Adinath Krishna Prabhu is. Hare Prabhu, where are you? In your fruit garden?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'm outside. I'm in Cupertino. It's
Okay,
really
okay.
nice right now. Thank you for the
Okay.
nectarian discourse, Prabhu. I didn't get time to reflect back, but I have several things written down. They're very important.